we just thank you for your time today.
Well, I'm glad to get it and very interested in it, and it made me stop and reminisce
Right.
about Pleasant Ridge. We only had one teacher, and her name was Irene Dunbar.
Okay.
And the first thing we did, we had scriptures every morning, and then we had so many Bible scriptures to memorize and quote them the next morning before we ever started out on anything else.
Okay. Well, we're going to go ahead and start because we've got some questions that'll cover some of that.
Oh, okay.
And we want to preserve this.
Uh-huh.
Are you ready?
Yes.
What is your full name?
Nancy Ann, A-N-N. You want my maiden name?
Yes, ma'am.
Poston, P-O-S-T-O-N. My married name is Wilson.
What year were you born?
1939.
What are your parents' names?
Ermagene, and that's all one word, E-R-M-A-G-E-N-E, McKenzie, and Granville, G-R-A-N-V-I-L-L-E, Poston, P-O-S-T-O-N.
So are you related to all these other McKenzies?
Oh, yes.
What was your father's occupation?
Farmer. He was a dairy farmer and a farmer.
What schools did you attend in Wood County?
Golden, Pleasant Ridge, and Alba. I was of the last graduating class of Alba in 1956.
So where did you start school?
Golden.
Do you remember what year?
No, I don't. I can tell you who my school teacher was, but that's not.
Okay, who?
Myrtle Pritchett. She was a wonderful lady.
So you went to first grade there?
Mm-hmm.
And then what about second grade?
Second grade, I went to Pleasant Ridge. And my teacher there was Irene Dunbar.
Do you know how the school got its name?
I don't know, that was just the name of the community, is all I know. My mother went to school there.
Well, I know there's still a cemetery.
Yes, the
Out there.
schoolhouse. I remember the schoolhouse, and it was right where the newest part of the cemetery is. But when I went there in the second grade, it was just one room, and my brother and I both went there. It was his third grade, I believe.
How did you get to school each day?
Walked.
And do you remember how far it was?
It was about 2 miles.
Did you walk down a road or was it a path through a pasture?
Road.
And what was the road like? Was it paved or gravel or dirt?
It was gravel. Now it's oil, but it wasn't back then. That was a long time ago.
Is it a county road now?
Yes.
Did you have other siblings?
Not that went, my oldest brother and I went to Pleasant
Okay.
Ridge, but the younger one started at Alba.
Did you have friends that walked with you?
No, it was just us. You know, it wasn't very heavily settled in that area. So
And what did you do if it were raining?
I guess my daddy probably carried us. I don't remember that. We didn't have a school bus then.
So did he take you in a wagon or was it a truck?
It was a truck, pickup truck. Can't
We've-
even remember
We've interviewed some people whose daddy had a tarp and put it over the wagon and took them.
that. Yeah, they're older than me.
Did anyone ride a horse to school?
No, we didn't.
Did the school have a lunchroom?
No, we carried our lunch. Brown bagged it.
Did the school have an auditorium?
Yes, it did.
Was the school ever, do you remember the school, if it were ever damaged by a tornado or fire or anything?
Not in my lifetime.
Do you remember about what time school started each morning?
It probably was around 8 to 8:30. I don't remember specifically.
And about what time it ended?
Around 2:30 to 3.
Did you ever have to miss school to work at home or in the field?
No. My mom and daddy believed in education. We worked when we got home.
Do you remember how many grades were at the school?
I'm thinking it must have only been through about the 8th grade, but I'm not positive of that at all.
So after your 8th grade year, is that when you went to Alba?
No. It was just the two of us in the 3rd grade the next year, and that was Jane Riley and myself, and we made the 3rd and 4th grade in that one year. And then the next year, the school was dissolved. She went to Golden, I went to Alba into the 5th grade.
So I wonder if the school consolidated with Alba and then...
It just disappeared as far as I know. And she lived further down in the country, which was put her in the Golden school district.
Did you ever pull any tricks on your teachers?
No, of course not. I wouldn't do that. Would I, Sandra?
No.
Do you have any funny or interesting stories about your teachers?
I just love Miss Dunbar because I guess we had the scriptures. We had to do that the very first thing when we congregated, and we had to recite the scriptures that she had assigned us, and we'd get a little bitty picture of Jesus. But I had quite a few of those pictures that finally just disappeared. But I thought that was a very important thing in the school.
Yes.
Can't do that anymore.
So, part of your morning routine, did you say the pledge?
Yes, we did.
What were some of the supplies you had to bring?
A big tablet, a pencil, and that was just about it that I remember.
Who were some of your friends there?
Well, Jane Riley, and to tell you the truth, I can't remember who else was there.
Did you have cousins that went?
No.
Can you describe the school?
It was a big, big building, plank building. It looked like it was a 2-story building. I don't know that it was, but it had the auditorium and it had the stage. And in bad weather, we played back there. But we had plays, and I think there must have been a basketball goal back there as well.
Do you remember how many classrooms there were?
1. There were other rooms in this building, but when I was there, the school only occupied the one big room, and then we had the auditorium.
So all the grades were in one room?
Yes.
Different rows for each grade?
I guess that must have been. I remember we went this way where the desks were, and ours was right over here. Mine and Jane's.
Was there a playground?
Yes, big playground.
Did it have a swing set?
Don't remember one.
A seesaw?
Probably did. I just don't remember much about the playground. I just remember the big room that we played in and the auditorium and so forth. You know, that's been a long time ago.
Now you sound like my dad. What did you do at recess?
We played back there in the big room, and like I say, there must have been a basketball goal back there. I know there was one on the playground, but we just played the usual stuff, I guess, that kids did back then, which wasn't very much.
Were there special programs or parties at Christmas?
Yes, and we did a play back there in that room.
Was it something that the community and parents would be invited to?
Oh, yes, yes. It was very community oriented.
Was there anything at Thanksgiving or Easter or other holidays?
Not that I remember. We might have, but I don't remember it.
Did Santa Claus come, or was there a gift exchange, or
Seems like we drew names, and it was mostly homemade gifts. And we just had that in the room. Seems like it wasn't a special thing. We just did it in the room.
Did you celebrate the end of the school year? Was there something special at the end?
Not that I remember. I was disappointed because the next year, after we did the 3rd and 4th grade in the 1 year, I was disappointed that we didn't get to go back to Pleasant Ridge. We had to go to the big city of Alba.
Was there a graduation program?
No.
Or anything? Do you remember if there was something like PTA?
No. Everybody worked as a unit way back when.
Were there any sports teams that you know of?
Seems like we had a baseball team.
I guess you didn't get to be old enough to play when it closed.
No, because I went the 2nd grade and then the 3rd and 4th. So I actually just went 2 years there.
How was your school heated?
I remember we had a big heater. I don't know whether it was wood or coal. But no fancy air conditioning or...
I was going to say, how was it cooled?
It wasn't.
Most people have said we had to raise the window.
Yeah.
If you got hurt at school, who tended to you?
The teacher. She was pretty efficient.
Do you remember any of the rules that you had to follow at school?
No talking, no chewing gum. That's about it.
What was discipline like?
I don't remember much about the discipline. We were all good kids, all I can say. I'm sure there was probably maybe over all the grades, maybe 20 at the most. You know, that part of the county was not settled very thick then.
What was your favorite subject?
Well, I like geography. I like to think about traveling.
What did you bring for lunch?
Usually a sandwich and some cookies that Mom made for me. For both of us, my older brother.
Did they give out any end of the year awards or anything?
They might have in the upper grades. I don't remember that. Of course, like I say, I was the 2nd and 3rd grader, so.
Do you remember the daily routine of school there? Like, did you have a morning recess and an afternoon recess?
I guess we did. I can't remember that exactly. I just remember playing back there in the big room. And we loved going up on the stage and acting like we were big wheels or something.
So after you left Pleasant Ridge, what school did you go to?
Alba. Entered there in the 5th grade. Had to ride the school bus then.
And you graduated in 56?
56. The last graduating class of Alba. And then the next year they were Alba Gold.
I know some people that said they were, I guess they were part of the last few years at Golden before. What would you like for people to remember about Pleasant Ridge?
It was a wonderful community. Families got together and visited, and that was always fun because everybody had several children, and it was fun time, always. I always said my mother grew up in the cemetery because she and my grandmother and granddaddy hoed off the old cemetery, and mother was always there. And she loved Pleasant Ridge.
Well, I know lots of old cemeteries, the way they were originally kept was you kept all the grass out of it.
Yeah.
And they would have a work day. Is there anything you would like to add about Pleasant Ridge?
It's just a wonderful place to live. Like I say, it was real family oriented, and so many people got together at my grandmother and granddaddy Mackenzie's place, and I thought they were relatives for years till I grew up.
And what were your grandparents' names?
Essie and Alvis Mackenzie, and they were the center, I would say, of Pleasant Ridge. Main focus family.
Well, we would like to thank you for your time this morning.
Well, thank you.
You're
very
helping
much.
us save.
I'm sorry you don't have somebody more.
Oh, no. You're wonderful because you're helping us. Your contributions are helping us preserve that time and place and how special it was.
Yeah. My mother went there in her earlier years, but she graduated from Alba. But I remember seeing pictures of her with a basketball team. Never talked to her much about that. But
I think basketball was an early sport for girls because I've seen pictures and they're all in bloomers and